What happens after we die? Some say we're transported to another world, where we're judged for our actions and brought to either heaven or hell. Others believe we become ghosts, undead figures who haunt the living world due to unfinished business. And some believe there's nothing after we die. That when our brains die, our experiences die with it. I fall into that latter camp, if you must know. I've seen hell, we're living it. In Dragon Ball, death is essentially an inconvenience. In this world, few die permanently, and most who do get to continue experiencing the world from Otherworld, which acts as the afterlife. Your soul is judged by God, otherwise known as King Yama, and then you either go to heaven if you're a good person, or Hiffle. You know, Hiffle, home for infinite losers. In heaven, you don't get to keep your body unless you were a martial arts master, in which case you can keep it to train for eternity. Normal people, however, do not get to keep their bodies, instead becoming these sprite ghost cloud things. I assume this is because most people actually hate having bodies. Think about you right now. You've probably wanted to change your body countless times. Maybe you think you're too skinny or too fat, or people think you're too skinny or too fat and you want to impress them. Maybe you can't walk, or constantly have to be on your feet. Maybe you're in constant chronic pain. Maybe you're envious of someone else's good looks, or tired of being so attractive that you can't be left alone. Not having a body means you don't have to worry about any of that. Dysphoria becomes a thing of the past, too. Obviously, you can't get sick or injured in heaven either, and apparently the planet that makes up heaven is larger than Universe 7 itself, since it has to house all of Universe 7's dead. Or, at least, the good dead. The bad dead go to hell, which, in the anime, is shown to be quite fun for the first episodes of Dragon Ball Z. Here we meet ogres Gaz and Mez, who oversee hell, a fun, touristy place where the dead don't suffer, but play around and go on adventures. Goku falls into hell from Snake Way, and then must do a bunch of trials to get out. But Gaz and Mez are pretty cool to allow Goku to do this. A lot of the deities in Dragon Ball are very chill. King Kai allows anyone who makes it to his planet from Snake Way to train with him. Supreme Kai, while functionally useless, is a really nice guy who oversees the universe and warns Goku of Majin Buu on Earth. And King Yama is a very lenient god himself, allowing Goku to keep his body and train with King Kai in the first place. He also once fought Raditz, which is kinda crazy to think about. Of course, he won. The gods of Dragon Ball don't exactly create, they oversee. The universe doesn't have a beginning, according to Buddhism, which Toriyama seemed to have taken a lot of inspiration from, so I choose to believe there is no creator. The gods sort of act more like a government than a group of people pulling the strings, which I know is ironic to say. They're what the government is supposed to be in real life. They warn mortals of life-ending threats and balance out the universe, whilst keeping to themselves, for the most part. Anyways, back to hell. In Dragon Ball Super, we see that Frieza has his own personal hell, in which he's tortured by cuddly little stuffed animals throwing a party around him while he's suspended within a cocoon. This is the most canon version of hell, if you care about that, since, as stated before, Gaz and Mez's version of hell is from filler from the Saiyan saga. A shame, because it's a really cool idea to make hell more of a rehabilitation zone than a punishment zone. I'm not saying bad people deserve to go on roller coaster rides and explore and shit, but I don't think they should be punished for eternity either, unless they're into that. This hell that Frieza occupies has multiple climates, not restricted just to fire and brimstone, almost as if there were several levels to it. This is more Buddhist stuff. In Buddhism, there are 8 primary hot hells and 8 primary cold hells. Essentially, the worse a person you are, the worse hell you get. Incessant hell is described as a space where inhabitants are tortured relentlessly without rest, which it appears is what Frieza got. I wonder if King Cold or Cell's hells look different to his. What do you think your hell would look like? I imagine something horribly embarrassing for me. My anxiety is bad enough in the real world. I can't imagine how awful it would be in a world specifically designed to punish me. We also see hell in the Fusion Reborn movie, after being corrupted due to Janemba's influence. It's really pretty, honestly, one of my favorite locations in the series from an aesthetic perspective. Many are born in these dimensions or live in them without being dead, such as the ogres, who are mostly workers. The demon realm, curiously, is not located in hell and is explored far more in Dragon Ball Daima. Ghosts are also real and haunt the living world after crossing over from Otherworld. They're not inherently antagonistic, just slippery little devils. Like Dr. Mashirito of Dr. Slump, who returns from the dead to sabotage Arale in Dragon Ball Super. Since he's a ghost, he cannot be killed, but he can be erased, which leads me to the final method of death in Dragon Ball: Hakai. Gods of destruction exist purely to destroy what's outdated to make room for what's to come. They are Grim Reapers who commit genocide in order to expand the universe. Dragon Ball tries to make them out as morally gray forces of nature just doing their job, but I genuinely see them as completely evil beings. Countless people have died to their hands for nothing, and when a Supreme Kai like Zamasu does the same thing, he's considered a villain, while Beerus and Champa are not, despite literally fighting over a planet and its inhabitants simply for food. Hit, of Universe 6, is very woke of this, because he's the best modern Dragon Ball character, so he allows Monaka to beat him in the tournament so Goku can keep his world. Angels and gods are compliant murderers, who are so numb to their horrid actions that the people around them become numb too. It's kinda gross, but I guess Vegeta has been in the main cast for years now, and he's a child-murdering planet destroyer, and we forgave him. Zeno is the adorable little guy who fronts it all. At one point, radical extremist Zamasu and his gay little copy fuse into each other and are destroyed by Trunks, but then infect the universe because they're immortal and can't die. They overtake the sky and haunt the people forever. So Zeno wipes out the timeline completely. This is awful, obviously. There were plenty of people left alive, and Zeno kills them all, except for Trunks and Mai, who are just brought to a similar enough timeline after failing to protect theirs. It's a bitter, bitter ending that I like the premise, but not the execution of. These people who were erased don't have an afterlife to go to. The entire timeline was wiped out, which includes all of the universes in that timeline. These people cease to experience. They are eternally gone. They can't experience. This is the scariest outcome for many, a lack of experience forever, an endless black we cannot fathom because we're gone. We don't exist anymore. It's terrifying. There's a reason only the strongest gods wield this ability, and Goku, I guess. I don't know why he would ever want that, but he does have access to it in the manga. While in the real world, this is a sobering and sad inevitability, in this world, it's not. And the fact that Beerus and the other gods, as well as Benjamin and Zeno Yahoo himself, have access to such a cruel ability is just disgusting. They're fascists. When the government is so complacent with the most violent and scary powers that be, those who are strong enough to wipe them out but still need guards to worship and protect them, those who wipe out civilizations on a whim because they have too much power, it is up to the people to step up and do something about it. Goku and the others should do something about it. Trunks ends up just surrendering to this dreadful existence, being forced to live with copies of his mother and friends that are not his mother and friends. He at least gets to keep Mai around, but what of the children he sought to protect? What about Yajirobe or Bulma's parents? Chi-Chi? The other universe Earths that don't even know who Zamasu is? All these people who never did anything wrong are being punished for the actions of one rogue god that was assigned by an authority. Zeno even has the universe he rules over compete in a battle royale that could potentially end in all universes being erased, because had someone with a selfish wish won, their universe would have been erased despite their win. Zeno manipulates people into fighting for his entertainment, then tests them with some bullshit moral victory at the end, and if you're even a little selfish after nearly dying for him, he kills you? That is evil. More evil than anything Frieza ever did. At least he was upfront about his cruel ways. Zeno and Beerus and the Grand Priest and everyone at the top are supposed to be members of the hero team, on our side, with shades of grey. But they just seem like villains to me. Yeah, I like Beerus and Whis and Champa and Vados as characters, but their position as morally grey characters is a very strange choice to me. In a series all about doing the right thing, constantly growing and challenging your own expectations, it is sad to see such overpowered, evil characters eternally at the top spot, while characters we've been watching grow, like Goten, Trunks, Krillin, Tien, and the androids, are doomed to never surpass them. But what does any of this really matter? We can just bring them back with the Dragon Balls!